Yeah, first, as I said, my name is Michael. I'm a representative, the CEO of a mid-sized company in the south part of Germany. And first, I have some really good news for you because there are tons of snow in the Alps. So everybody of you who planned going skiing in the next 6 weeks, you don't have to worry about snow. There's many of snow in the Alps, so please feel free and book your next travel into the Alps and go for skiing. Second one is there are some colleagues of me here in the audience, and if you later on want to make a deep dive in all the technology things, because I'm just a business administration guy, then please go over to Mr. Klaus. He's just sitting next to there, and he will answer all the questions to you. But I have also a sad news for you. Maybe someone noticed it. Earlier this week, Australia announced that first time when they put on weather data, no rain in the whole Australia. And I don't know if somebody of you have ever been to Australia, but it's a really, really big country. And during one day, no rain in whole Australia. So I know you're all very focused on the climate changes, but these are all news we will discuss it maybe later. So let's start with pebbles. And the title of my short presentation is, what would Greta do? And I'm sure I will give you some information you already know, but you know repetition is the mother of learning. For that reason, 5 very simple statements, and if you keep this always in mind, then I have fulfilled my mission for today. So I'm sure that everybody knows this young woman, and from my point of view, she has changed lots of things in just referring to the world of today and how things are changing and how our behavior as a utility company is changing. And now the circle is closing to the former speeches of Stan and Lorena, because they give a lot of PowerPoint information. I want to show you now the real new role of utility company, and I want to show you not just some PowerPoints. I will show you our real case, our project, and where you got the feeling or where you can see what's going on and how we are doing connecting real assets with technology and with the communities. So what would Greta do? First, climate neutral. What you can see is a Piz Balue in Switzerland, and if you consider the glacier, you will see it's going down, and for that reason, first is climate neutral. Second, if you're discussing about markets, how the future energy market should look like, renewable. Here you can see one of our water plants, one of our hydro plants in the Allgäu. And you can see it's a really nice situation, and water is the backbone of our production of renewable energy. Third is community-based, and this is really a big point for us. This is now changing. I mean, considering all the different communities you see in order with digitalization, you will recognize that there are less communities in dealing with energy. The other thing is we have to come together, because only with communities we can change our electricity system from nuclear and coal into a renewable market. And as I said before, you need the digitalization to manage all these markets. I will later refer on that. So, last but not least, and that's also a major point for me, decentralized. Why? I'm not sure how many of you have bought products, biological products, for example, out of the neighborhood. I'm sure that a lot of guys and are here in the audience have did this before, and they are planning to do it. So, and if you see that our market system is now changing from a centralized market into decentralized market, we have to manage these markets, and I'm sure that will be a huge achievement in the electricity market in Germany, but in Europe, nearly all over the world. So these are the main points I would like to make at the beginning of my speech, just to make sure that this will be the next step into the next utility market. So, and what's now your question? what is the answer? What is the answer for all these 5 important points? The answer is the local energy market, LEM. And let me give you a short definition. And this is connecting to our Pebbles project as well. The Pebbles is a kind of platform. It provides energy producers, so people who have renewable production plants, consumers and prosumers, the opportunity to trade energy and flexibility with each other. Now you say, well, that's not really new. There are a lot of projects in Europe, nearly all over the world, who have this aim as well. With Pebble, something is new, that we have a DSO into the system. So it also considers the state of the local distribution grid and those organize the trading of a grid-friendly way. So it's load and electricity. And that's an important thing. You can only organize a local market, and that's the different, for instance, if you consider the market in Brooklyn with LO3, where they did this peer-to-peer network based on blockchain, you need the grid operator as not as a friend, as a part of the system. And here you can see a little bit how we're going to do it. So we will have a Pebble platform. We will have lots of different stakeholders. So there will be industry buildings, there will be energy campus, there will be the virtual power plants, there will be nanogrids buildings, there will be virtual participants, prosumer, as I said before, and above you see the DSO, the grid operator. And that's totally new, and that's just not a concept that will become real. Later on, I will give you some information about the project and what we're doing right now. But let's have a short look back, because the question is why we're dealing with such a situation. You see the big 3 things in Germany is decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. And we all started with our projects in 2011. First with the IRENA project, where we show is it possible to integrate 1 million electrical vehicles into our grid, and it works as a main result of the project. And second is that the grid operator do not need a smart meter to operate his grids. That was the second big result, but there the smart grid train has already left. And for that reason, this information was not so useful for the German government. The second one was IRENA 2, and here that was the first time that we were settled down a really microgrid, and the results were stable grid operation for both, and that's the important thing for island and for the grid-connected mode. And actually, they are using this system now in rebuilding the electricity system in the Galapagos Island with these results. And after this, because there were 2 projects that were very technically, and then we decided we need now the next step to get into a commercial point of view, and to get scaling effects, and to bring something really new where you sharing and where you can dealing with electricity in one market in order with a grid operator. So let us give us some just pictures about our smart grid or smart market campus. You can see it. There is a station is coming in the middle. It's the whole system. And if you see on the solar panel over there, we are in a region with over 50% of renewables, and there are over 8,000 customers of us who are prosumers, and for that reason you can see there's a commercial background for us as a utility company, especially in the we call it the post-EEG time, so when all the producers get out of the governmental money pay period, and so for that reason there's a commercial thing as well. But let's have a short focus. What is the status quo now in Germany? You know, there's the trading still on the virtual copper plate. We have informally priced wholesale markets. We have static feed and tariffs for renewables, so it's no dynamic in the system. and we have static consumption tariffs for end users. That maybe will change with the introduction of smart meters, but finally the price effect is not really important. And we did it 5 years ago. We have done a project where we are a real project with customers about load shifting, and they see they can save 12 euros a month, and I'm not sure about your consumption, but that's not a big deal for them to change their behaviors. So what are the challenges? All the systems are ignoring the grid, and there are no incentives for prosumers to adapt their behavior to special market signals. And there's no incentive to provide flexibility. And that's a big point from me. Lots of people, they are discussing if data is the new gold in the utility business. I don't think so. I would say load flexibility will be the next big thing in our business. For that reason, we have to give incentives for flexibility, and we have to reorganize the whole market. And to all these things, Pebbles and the local energy market will give answers. So we will enable trading electricity, energy, and flexibility on a local level. We are considering the existing grid topology and enable provisions of grid services. And we encourage end users to participate in this market, enable them to select price and technology preferences. So, and this is really brand new. And if you see our project status, so it's not just a concept where we are doing it, we would like to prove it. And we are now doing a demonstrator with nearly, I think, 15 customers and lots of different production plans, and with our grid operator. And we are sure that we will finish this demonstrator at the end of next year, and then we will have a commercial model, and hopefully then we can produce some white label products for the rest of the world to show how a local market can work. The only thing is the regulation, and therefore we have to we have to solve a lot of legal topics. And you know, I got sometimes the feelings we are like Asterix and Obelix, you know, these little villages who were working and fighting against the Romans. You know, that's the same now in our markets, because there are still the four very, very powerful TSOs, so the transport grid operators, and for them, a decentralized market is, it's definitely not their understanding about markets at all. Then we have some, as I said, digital systems, so it's cloud-based, and we will use blockchain as well to focusing on audit trail to communicate to the market. And for me, the real job of the blockchain is the proof of origin of where the electricity is come from. So that's the reason why we are using blockchain. So don't ask what your country or what your grid operator can do for you. First ask what you can do for the rest of the market. And our challenge now are, as you can see, our to-dos, securing enough liquidity on the local market, integration of grid topology into market mechanism, considering flexibility in the market mechanism, and in order to the technology. That will be big points for us. But for you, for the audience, and for everybody, we have to fight against the regulation. The regulation system in Germany and nearly lots of Europe are not prepared for the decentralized market, or for, as I said, for Pebbles, for the local energy market. So that's the German energy community, or everybody who's believing in the idea, and we heard it earlier this morning on the stage, that there will be a new rule for us. And for that reason, it's important that you, the community, everybody who's believing in such systems, and I'm sure that there will be both systems, a central system, a decentral system, but we have to do to convince the regulation that will be a new effort, and with, for instance, with dynamic grid costs, you will achieve a huge or a greater amount of money, and for that reason you will give new incentives for the customers to joining such a system and to selling energy into the neighborhood. So for that reason, I would be grateful if you take these 5 big points from the beginning of the presentation, and the second one, if you come back then to your countries, then always keep this in mind that we need a decentralized world, and we need it in energy, and maybe in 10 years you will buy your apple from your neighbor, and you will buy his energy as well, and then you will be a little bit more satisfied maybe than now. Thank you very much. Just one last slide about the key data. You see there's a finance volume of 10.5 million, so it's not a small project at all. And there's a lot of different partners you can see. There is Siemens with us, who invited us for this speech. From this point of view, thank you very much. Then the Fraunhofer, then different university. So you can see it's just not a little bit, playing a field. It's coming real. So, and we will end it in February 21. So, thank you very much, and I would be glad to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. One question from me. So Alco, if I understand correctly, is not a very large energy company. So how is it then that you invest in such a kind of ambitious business case?
Well, it belongs to our history, you know. After the Second World War, our company was private-owned, and the private was a kind of entrepreneur, and he sold the companies to the town. And this is part of our DNA. So investing, developing the future is one of our goals. And for that reason, our shareholder, he wants to have money as well, profits, but there's a lot of freedom in our work, and financial freedom as well, to develop such projects. And you know, we do have a startup, for instance, with Siemens together called eGrid, and for that reason, I think our shareholder, he wants to have money. We are now 100 years old, and for the next 100 years as well, and that's the reason you have to. It's not a question of how big you are; it's how flexible you are, how innovative you are. That's the secret.
Okay, thank you.